Okay. I know that this is early Saturday morning, and I've been up since 4 a.m. So this is like our lunchtime.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of people are, I got a lot of emails of people that were like working today, so they weren't going to be able to join the live, but they would catch the replay. And I'm also super shadow banned as
Oh,
always.
it's
What else
nuts.
is
I
new?
think my channel gets more views. My videos get more views than yours now. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So I told Todd, I was like, I don't know who's all going to be here this morning, but we're going to go forward anyway because I know people are going to get the replay for the replay crew. So it's totally fine. I don't really have much of an ego when it comes to numbers anyway, I would say. Do I have an ego when it comes to
You
numbers?
don't. No, you just.
So yeah, so we're just going to keep pushing forward, guys. And that's the thing about this dastardly establishment, this system, right? They do things like this to try to shut people up, but it just here's JoJo's here. We have
Hey,
JoJo.
JoJo.
Thank you, Jojo. Um, I'm just gonna keep pushing forward. Like the more they try to shadow ban me, the more we're gonna keep talking. And so I do have some. Oh, awesome! You guys are up early, Midwest Night Watchers. They stay up like all night, so
Yeah.
they're up early this
Well,
morning.
he might just still be up.
They might just still. Are you guys just still up? Are y'all still up? So I'm so excited that we have a few people here. But for the replay crew, obviously we're so happy for the replay crew. Now, a couple of announcements before we get into the show at hand. As far as like no, oh, they woke up early.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For tomorrow for Fusion Body Studio, we have a live class on Fusion Body Studio tomorrow. It's going to be a workshop at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's Sunday for the replay crew. That'll be on Sunday, November the 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern time. That is on, again, Fusion Body Studio, that platform. And we're going to be workshopping Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, Jalandhara Bandha. We're going to be talking a lot about like the chakra system and why exercise is the foundation of spirituality, not just from the mental aspect of the act of meditation and what it means to like be an actively in the here now moment with the yoga chitta vritti nirodha, but also with like why the physical body is so important to the foundation of spirituality. You know, people are obsessed with the chakras. They're like weirdly obsessed with the chakras on the internet, but it's kind of silly. Like you can tell it's controlled opposition because they're not even talking about the bandhas. And if you don't know what the bandhas are, then you have no business really looking into the chakras yet, because the bandhas are literally the lock that holds everything in. It's like building a house and not having a front door, just having an opening for anybody to come and go, right? The house isn't safe then. And so if you are interested in stuff like that, the physicality, and we're going to be talking about the perineum, the adductors, all the muscles that support that energetic lock as well, just for people who are really interested in this hidden knowledge. I mean, not hidden for us because we actually went and sought it out years ago, but to be able to share that, like, this is why exercise is the foundation of spirituality, is because you cannot have any type of spiritual enlightenment without actually being in your body, because the body is the direct mirror of the soul. And so, sorry guys, with this light on, my nose just runs like crazy. So that's going to happen tomorrow over on Fusion Body Studio at 4 p.m. Eastern time. If you are a member of Fusion Body Studio and you cannot make that live class, that workshop, and you have some questions, you can send them in to Paula or me, and I will answer them in the live class. It will be up for replay on Fusion Body Studio as well. We actually shot a new 60-minute bar for men yesterday. And you didn't almost kill me this time.
No, it was fun. I actually enjoyed it.
That's going to be posted this week as well at some point. I've got another video I'm going to film as well for a new workout that's going to be up with that one at some point this week. Also for Fusion Body Studio, we have December coming up, and so we definitely want to do a workout that's almost like a Christmas party or a holiday party for December. And so Paula and I are going to be asking everybody to let us know their favorite moves, their favorite exercise moves. And so I can weave together a class that's basically picked by our students, and we can kind of weave all these moves together for a fun class in December. I know Todd's going to be teaching one of the live classes this December, Ashtanga based.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you forgot you're doing that.
Yeah.
And you're also, I think, going to be doing the lecture class in December too.
Do another Vedic chanting.
Or yeah, or letting people just talk. You can just talk, have people ask questions. Well,
Yeah.
we can do that here too, about your
Uh-huh.
journey into spirituality.
Yeah.
And the next Sunday, the 23rd, I'm just double checking, yeah, 4 p.m. next Sunday, we're going to have Julia, who is a chef, and she's joining Fusion Body Studio to create a lifestyle playlist under the courses to help people with cooking. And so she is very fully aware of like the chakra system, the dosha system, and so she's going to be starting like a very comprehensive like cooking course to help people learn how to cook for themselves at home. So that's going to be starting in the new year. So she's going to be doing a live class on the 23rd at 4 p.m. Eastern time as well, just to introduce herself to the group and figure out like what our students want, what they're looking for at Fusion Body. That's the thing about Fusion Body. You know, we have 2 tiers. You can just do the exercise tier if you just want a simple online fitness boutique at home. But if you're looking for more, we have the second tier, which includes the first tier, but it also includes different courses explaining spirituality. We have courses on the Bhagavad Gita, the alchemy of movement. Hello, Utah. And I was actually just catching up with the secret lives of Mormon wives. Because even though I love to deep dive historical and academic stuff, I also love reality TV, don't I?
You do. You watch a lot of reality.
I love reality TV.
For JoJo, that the Manduka Pro.
Manduka,
you
yeah.
will never have to buy another yoga mat in your life if you get one of those black Manduka Pros.
Yeah.
They're heavy, but they're worth it.
They're a lifetime warranty. So Manduka, and we're not sponsored by Manduka. I would love to be sponsored by Manduka, but we're not. I've always used a Manduka. You can do like the cheap Target mats, but they like disintegrate within like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
A Manduka is like $100 for the mat, but it's a lifetime. It lasts a whole lifetime. So it's actually, if you are really invested in yoga, you're probably gonna want to get a Manduka, even though it's expensive, because it's gonna last you. You're gonna end up saving money with the Manduka.
I think I've been practicing on the same one for like the last 17 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's what we use. They're heavy, but they're worth it. And they have really good traction. So absolutely Manduka 100%. Yeah. And so, yeah, Utah, you like, are not, yeah. I still love it. I love mom talk. I love it. They're so scandalous. Well, I think because they grew up Mormon, there's a lot of maybe arrested development when it comes to like sexuality. I probably shouldn't have said that word, but whatever, and stuff like that. So it's pretty, it's an interesting show. So yeah, so with Fusion Body, if you're interested in Fusion Body, joining our classes either next week or the week after, or if you're just interested in it, we are going to do a Black Friday special. Paula is going to figure that out for you guys. She's in Australia though. So we were kind of talking about it. I was like, we have this thing. It's called Black Friday in America, and all these businesses have sales. So if you want to, oh, hey, Isabella, she's Isabella, she's in the group, in the Fusion Body. So we are going to look at doing some specials for Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, for anybody who wants to purchase like a membership for a Christmas present or something like that. Paula's going to figure that out so that we can support our people who want to gift Fusion Body to anybody for the holiday season, or gift themselves like a discounted year rate or something during the Black Friday. And so Todd's going to be doing more Vedic chanting in the new year. We're also going to, now that we're filming NAYA, we can now start the Ashtanga beginner course. And so a lot of fun stuff is going to be coming up in the new year as well. Now, before we get into it too, I want to talk a little bit with you guys about Sergei Monast. As y'all know, we have been doing, thank you, Isabella. We have been doing a lot with Sergei Monast, and that might be part of the reason why I'm super shadow banned. Even though I'm not putting it on YT, it's going on RUMBLE and Substack. But I think just kind of talking about him has maybe caused some shadow banning. I don't know though, but we have done a lot. It's been very heavy stuff into Sergei Monast. He, if you're not familiar, he was a big investigative journalist in the 90s. He was, in my opinion, unalived by the establishment for releasing all of the information that he did release. If you know the term blue beam, you have Sergei Monast to thank for it. And I have been ordering his documents and going through all his documents. And so that has been over on RUMBLE and Substack as well. Obviously not here on YT, although we have been referencing it. Now, the next group of documents, I started to go through it. And this is his documents over the history, over the Aluma Shmati, we'll say, The Illuminous ones will say, watching my words a little bit. And it's fascinating because this is documentation from like the 80s and the 90s that he's collected. And so I just recorded the first part of his documents. But what's going on with this set of documents, you guys, is there's so much to it that what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pre-record, go through all the documentation, pre-record it into different parts. And then I'm going to have to go back and do some follow-up episodes because there are people and organizations that he has mentioned in this document from the 80s and the 90s that are not talked about today in these different circles of people who are searching for the truth. And so so Heather Gay from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has a documentary with the guy who is counselor for the church SSA program. Yes, I watched that. Green Eyed Crow actually watched that, her documentation. Good morning. About this. It's interesting. And I actually spoke to one of our community members here. I emailed her personally. She's an ex-Mo, an ex-Mormon. And I want to do in the new year, do a full-on biographical like show over Joseph Smith's life. I swear to God, if Hollywood got its act together and stopped doing gross things and actually told the truth, if somebody would do a biographical movie about Joseph Smith that isn't whitewashed by the LDS Church, but actually told the truth of Joseph Smith, that would be a very, very scandalous and very interesting movie because that guy was a freaking psychopath. No offense to my Mormons, but Joseph Smith was a philandering. Every sin he had all of a sudden became like part of the doctrine. And so he is just a slimy, womanizing philanthropist. And I think if somebody did a true movie about his life, it would be super, super, super. Yes, actually, yeah. Super awesome movie because he was a dirty little rascal. So anyway, so that's coming up. And again, with the Sergei Monas stuff, sorry, I'm jumping around. I'm reading the chat while I do that. The next installment of Sergei Monas documents might not be until December because we've got some names that have not been mentioned in our timeline of this conspiratorial stuff. And I need to go and do some spying into these people, some people that are not what I mean, they lived in like the 19th century. And so that I'm going to finish the documents first myself, get those recorded, and then go back and do some deep dives into some of these people that are mentioned in these documents that I hear no one talking about. And so with that being said, so expect the next Sergei Monas documentation drop to be probably next month. If not in January, depending on how long it takes for me to go through the deep dive. Otherwise, if you're not called up, we have a lot already dropped on Sergei Monas. So if you're not caught up, again, that's over on my RUMBLE channel as well as on Substack. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it for announcements. And now we can get into catching up with the Cassiopaeans.
Yeah, with all the lore stuff, right? And so for those of you that are not familiar with the Laurinite Cassiopaean Cult scandal, you probably want to check out my channel, The Confused Wanderer, which, you know, we've been laying this out, explaining the situation with Laurinite Yaddick and the Cassiopaean material, which, you know, Bryce started reading over on her channel, some of the transcripts. And then
hold that thought. If you're new, go to my playlist. I have the Cassiopaean Experiment playlist, so you can go and get all those. That's where they're all cataloged. So people who aren't.
But before they even watch those, listen to those transcripts, they probably should understand the story behind it, because the stuff that we've uncovered before this was after Bryce started reading all of the transcripts on her site, and she was the ones who sort of opened my eyes to, you know, a different perspective of the material, something I had been following for a while. And, you know, mostly when I was younger, in my late 20s. And I don't think that I had the discernment that I have now, or that, you know, it's.
Thank you. They just dropped your channel.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. I mean, what would you say about that?
Let's back up just a little bit. So let's back up a little bit, because there's still a lot of valuable stuff in the Cassiopaeans. Just because they are fourth density negative doesn't mean that they're lying, right? Like they don't lie. Like as we know, the Lizzies don't lie, and they can't because they're in a place where they don't have the veil, so they can't. They can manipulate, but they can't lie,
And
right?
they can run with your misconceptions. That's
Yeah.
another thing that we've learned recently is that if you have strong held beliefs or misconceptions, and you're during a channeling session, you're asking them questions, still holding firm to your misconceptions or wrong held beliefs, then they can run with that. That's one way that
Yeah.
they can manipulate.
So if you believe that the sky is green or purple, they'll be like, okay, sure.
Right. And so they'll support that view.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that helps them get around the lying.
Right.
Yes.
Whereas maybe a fourth density positive, we would be like, well, why do you think that the sky is purple?
Right.
Like,
Or
why?
that's an
That's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective.
What makes you think that? Like they might inquire more versus saying you're wrong, it's blue, you know? Yeah. So we can back up just a little bit because I think it's more ours. Your story with the Cassiopaeans, my story with the Cassiopaeans is a little bit more nuanced because it wasn't just overnight, right? Like it's not just when we first started dating, you were the first person to bring in the law of one, which that's kind of the template, the foundation of the Cassiopaeans is the law of one. And it was the first time I'd ever heard somebody explain the template of spirituality that just kind of made sense, like beyond religion, beyond it's kind of was like this template of the growth of consciousness in a very basic way that can fit into a lot of faiths and a lot of spiritual beliefs, and it just kind of made sense. And so I kind of thought, yeah, it really added and supported a lot of my yoga study, because the yoga study, which is how we met, the big, like the main crux, and I know this gets confusing, but the main crux of yoga is prakriti and purusha, the body and the soul. Like this debate between this basically like friction, this tug of war between being in a mortal body with an immortal soul. And it's almost like David Grieg used to call it the unattainable unicorn. Like it was this unattainable riddle that would never truly ever be solved, which we now know third density, you're not it's not supposed to be solved. You're just supposed to really kind of be with it and ponder it. And basically in the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali is basically saying like, the problem with humans, like, and this was written 5,000 years ago, so it kind of makes me laugh that we have not evolved past, like we're still struggling with the same issues, is like who we think we are isn't really who we are. And that's why we suffer. Like all suffering, all fears can be really traced back to this fear of mortality, fear of death, basically, that we're all going to face one day. Like, spoiler alert, no one gets out of this world alive, right? Like we're all going to face this. We all deal with the consequences of age, of change, all that kind of stuff. And think about the song Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, right?
Yeah.
And so Patanjali says, okay, we have to realize that we have basically gone through a veil. We have amnesia when we take this existence. And as you say, as Law of One says, this helps us actually have a greater opportunity to make choices and find God while having this veil. If we knew who we were when we took life, there would be no growth there, right? There would be no fun in that. And so Patanjali's like, all right, so you're actually a soul. Your body is literally just the manifestation of your soul, but it's not your soul. It's like putting on clothes every day. Like you like fashion.
Yeah.
You put on clothes a day and that kind of expresses your feelings of that day, but then the next day it's a new outfit. And that's kind of the same thing with yoga. Even though the body is the foundation of spirituality, it's a tool. It's a for the soul that we have this.
Where are you going with this though?
Because we're going to the Cassiopeians.
Right. Okay,
with Laura. I'm backing it up.
I see. Yeah. All right.
So I want to give our audience an idea of like where I was coming from.
Uh-huh.
So my whole 19 years in yoga has been spent, before I was even on YouTube, even like every single day challenging my own ego. The ego is a false sense of self, right? It's connected to the identity. Okay, if I'm not Bryce, then who am I? And that's kind of scary. You go through the ego death, you go through the depression. I'm a soul observing it. They call Purusha the watcher and Prakriti the watchable. And the only thing that connects to God is the soul. That's it. And so we use this friction of this body, this mortality with this immortal soul, to find this change, to find this connection, the soul's connection to God. As Richard Freeman used to say, well, not used to say, he's still around, that all we're really doing in a yoga practice is preparing for our own death, to be able to let go when that happens. And so the body is so important, but at the same time, it's not. It's that weird, we need it in this moment. It's an extension of our soul's experience, but we need to let go of it and let go of that identity when our time is up and it's time for the soul to move on to the next experience. So when we got to the Cassiopaean, so I had this when I met you. At that point, it was like, I don't know how long anyway, years. I had been really looking at myself. Like, this was a huge study for me. And then the law of one kind of came around and kind of supported that. Okay, well, you're here to make choices. Okay, well, as I start to get to know myself, I can make choices of how as Sri Swami Satchitananda says in his commentary of the Yoga Sutras. I love this part of it where he commentates, and he said, the more you get to know your own soul through this work, beyond your body, beyond your identity, the more you recognize the soul in others, the more you're of service to others, right? And so that really supported this law of one. But then we get to the Cassiopaeans. And you always told me that you were way more invested in the Cassiopaeans than the law of one.
No, it was the only reason I was invested more in the Cassiopaeans because it was it was still continuing. That I'd studied the law of one and I read those books 20 something times. And then I felt like I had taken what I needed to take from that. And then Cassiopaeans was something that was still continuing to this day. And this so is I'm not more invested in the cat. I was.
But this is where I have had a disagreement with him. I said, but it's not a continuation of the law of one. All it appeared to me that the Cassiopaeans were doing were gossiping. Mm-hmm. That's all it was. This isn't a continuation of the law of one. This isn't a continuation of an individual actually doing their own work on their own soul and getting actual information that's going to give them potency. And so, but regardless, before I started doing them on my show, we would, like, whenever the Cassiopaeans would drop a new reading, we would read it and we would talk about, like, the conspiracy theories that they would talk about, whatever. Right. It was interesting. I personally never thought it was, like, helpful. Like, it's not helpful to know that, Mr. Gates is a bad guy. Like, duh, right. We all know that, but that's not helping me personally in my life find my soul. So I was really kind of confused. Like, how is this spirituality? This is gossip. That's like most truther channels. Most truther are just gossip channels. That's all they are.
Right. And I never took it as spirituality. That was the thing. I mean, there in the beginning when Frederick was still, or Frank as they call him, was still involved. There was some really valuable stuff. But then once Frederick left, then that's when it really went downhill. And then it was pretty much just focused on conspiracy theory,
which is just gossip. At what
right? And then some questions around organic portals and things like that. And so every so often there would be something I would feel like was valuable in helping understand our place in third density. That's mostly what I was looking for within the material, even though sometimes, current things that they will cover in current events were, interesting in their own right sometimes.
I think, like they would get into, and I love studying, like, the Knights Templar. I love all that stuff. That stuff's very fascinating to me. But I can say, even though it's fascinating to me and I totally would do shows on it, it's not helping anybody spiritually to know about the Knights Templar. Like, that's not helping anybody evolve in their soul. We look at, like, Sergei Monast's stuff. He's sharing actual documentation of stuff that helps us make better choices in our life. But knowing about some of these things that they cover really doesn't matter. Like, it's just
it
gossip.
Really makes no difference.
It makes no difference,
it's
right?
Entertainment.
It's entertainment. That's it. And I did like Frank or Frederick's. When he would channel himself, that was really intense and really helpful as far as, like, he really got back down to kind of law of one and where your soul, where the trajectory of your soul and the choices that you're making. But then I started to do it on my channel. At this point, I thought, well, I'm going to go back to the beginning. So I grabbed all the books we have and I started going back to the beginning and reading them on my channel. And I'm reading this, and you had really talked up Laura, that she was just this incredible person and she had done all this work. And the minute I started reading this, I was like, what? I was like, she's done no work. Like, this is crazy. Like, where did he get this idea that she's done all of this work? Because I'm reading this, like, from the beginning, one after the one after the one after the one. Yeah. And I'm like, nothing here is telling me that she's done any spiritual work.
Right.
And I always say, look at her. And this is why people get mad at me, but I always say I would never go to a healer who is overweight, because that tells me that they can't even take care of themselves. They can't even work on themselves. How the hell are they going to help me? Look at Laura. She can't even take care of herself, her own health. So who is she to be giving out health advice, right? And so I kind of started to, as you guys know, if you've been here for a while, I would get frustrated in these readings. Like, I would read stuff she would say, and it would frankly piss me the fuck off. Like, I would be like, some of these things she's talking about are just ego based. And what really made me mad was when she started talking about Hinduism. When she said something about, and gave me a clue that this absolutely was fourth density negative, because she said basically the boinking of Shiva and Vishnu or something. And I was like, and the Cassiopeians kind of egged her on. And I'm like, that's not even Hinduism. Like, these are two men. Shiva's a man. Vishnu, Rama is a man. That's the tri-head, and they have their own, like, what are you talking about? I still think Laura owes a massive apology to the Hindus for misrepresenting their faith, right? She's so quick to try to use Christianity and to, I would get so mad at it. It was just so wrong. It was so evil what she was doing, cruel, crude. And I was like, this woman obviously has, and I would come out and say to you, she's got behavior problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a woman who has behavior problems. And, usually we hear that behavior problems with kids, but no, this is like an old ass lady. What is she, 80, 82, 80?
Something like that, yeah.
Like, who's behaving like a spoiled brat. And nobody has obviously taught her that you don't do this, you don't speak this way. Mm-hmm. And it would really piss me off. And then I started seeing these things. Paul and I read an article once on a show, and it really talked about how she was the chosen one. She was the Messiah. And I was like, oh, damn. I break it down. That's not positive to say that you are the Messiah. Good. Yeah, Jojo, y'all are mad
funny
with
because I never caught that. I never saw
you
that.
never read those articles,
but
though.
Yeah, I didn't. I never read the articles that she would just post on her website, nor did I really pay much attention to her life story. And I think that was a big mistake that I made when approaching the material, is that I would sort of skim through her story, and because my perspective was that it's not the person who's channeling that was important. It was the material coming from whoever they were channeling. But now looking back, I realize I don't think I would have been quite as hoodwinked had I paid more attention. But also, I think that if I was older and read those books and her story, I would have had more I would have had more discernment now than I did back then, which is how I was able to be hoodwinked like I was. Yeah. So it didn't take long for you to bring those issues.
You pushed back with me, though.
And I pushed back with you at first, but then it started to all make sense. And then the blinders were down, and immediately I saw what you were seeing. And then that led into me starting to dig first for the original channeler, the man who started all of the work that Laura
stole, basically.
Work that she's doing now. She stole from Frederick.
Frank in the transcripts. Yeah.
Right, Frank in the transcripts. And so once I found his real name, and once I found the original transcripts between 1994 and 2000 and started looking over those, that's when everything started to be revealed. And that's when I found Vincent Bridges, and then the floodgates open with Vincent Bridges. And that's where a lot of the readings on my channel are coming from, is Vincent's direct experience with Laura.
Yeah. Somebody said, does Frank still do the channeling elsewhere? We have been,
No.
he might do it privately. We don't know. We've tried
I mean, he's not posting it
he's
anywhere.
not posting it anywhere. We think we found an email address for him. So we did send an email, but we haven't heard back. How I would love to talk to Frank or Fred. I would love, absolutely. I feel like he was done so dirty by Laura, as many people were. This woman is a legitimate, in my opinion, like she's a legitimate psychopath. Like, the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath is a psychopath has actually like unalived people, but I would put her in that category because she tried to unalive someone. She was arrested for attempted unaliving. And I think the jury got it wrong. I think she absolutely was guilty. And so I put her in the I think she literally I would say, like, I'm not a therapist, in my opinion, though. She definitely has like cluster B personality, antisocial personality disorders, I would say, but I would literally say she's a psychopath. In my opinion, I think she's also a pathological liar.
Absolutely.
That is, and we know that she has changed transcripts, and we can't really tell after 2000 what's been changed, but everything that gets changed is changed to benefit her, right? To make her ego bigger. And if you guys have not been following his channel, he's read some really funny articles. There's one, the Rollo.
Oh yeah, Tomasi.
Hysterical.
Tomasi.
He called it a Jerry Springer white trash. Like he
called it trailer park spirituality.
Yeah, that he really went hard on her, and just how, I mean, that's all I can think to call it. It's white trash. It is what it is. It's just trashy. And she's very manipulative, very cunning, which is how she gets people like Vincent Bridges, who had already had fame. You are in touch with his widow, and so hopefully we can continue talking to her, because we really, you're Laura's second cousin. That's also another part of this. You found out you're actually related to Laura through the Knights. And you reached out to her before all this was revealed, and you got a very nasty, like cold response back. And I've had second cousins reach out to me after Esoteric Atlanta got big, and I've never responded to them negatively. I've always embraced any distant cousins that have reached out to me.
I didn't want any special treatment or anything. I was just excited, So I had been following her work, for her stolen work now, for quite some time, and so, I thought she would be sort of excited about that, hearing from a relative, a cousin, and so she was,
and she wanted background on like my family lineage as well. And you were like bugging me to like send stuff to her, and I kept saying, no, I don't feel comfortable doing this. She's very narcissistic in like what her family lineage is. And it's kind of funny because I was actually looking at this thing this morning. If you guys are familiar with history, King Edward III, who lived in like the 1300s, he's kind of what spawned the War of the Roses, which spawned the Tudor dynasty, the very famous Anne Boleyn, the Six Wives of Henry VIII. So he kind of, but both Todd and I can trace our ancestry directly back to Edward III, which our DNA doesn't match at all. I mean, this is the 1300s, but so can like half of the population of the earth. Like half can trace their lineage back to Edward III. And so, but she is very, it's like she has blinders on when it comes to the fact that, she thinks she's like the only one. And it's like, girl, like half of
she doesn't really focus on that much, actually.
She talks a lot about her lineage.
The later people. Yeah.
Well, and in her articles, let's take Sir Thomas More. So Todd's a direct descendant of Sir Thomas More. So is Laura. Sir Thomas More lived in the latter part of the 15th and 16th century. He was brutally executed by King Henry VIII. He himself was not a great guy. Like, he was a hardcore Catholic. He was really into burning people who weren't Catholic. But he wrote Utopia. I've had to study Utopia. He's kind of a big deal academically when it comes to academics. But with that being said, though, that was from like 500 years ago. So obviously there's tons of descendants of his. Right? And so even with Jesse Knight, that's even closer related, because he's your 3 times great grandfather. So Jesse Knight, who settled Tampa, Sarasota, that whole area of Florida, that's his 3 times great grandfather. How many kids did Jesse have? Like 10?
Yeah, something like
10
that.
10 kids. Your mom even said once, like, he's got like 500 descendants living in that area. I mean, it's just crazy to think that you are the special one when you've got all these other cousins. It's just crazy. But she's very. It's like she garnishes her self-worth from her lineage, and that has nothing. And she thinks that solving all these conspiracies is what evolves her soul spiritually, but it literally has fuck all to do with spirituality. It's just entertainment, it's just drama. And so that's kind of where we are now. You've got even more, and you've pulled up, and guys, I don't think we can share screen. I've tried to
Yeah, well, we don't necessarily need to read this, especially since we're still. Yeah, we can. I can do that in another episode.
So you want to do that in another episode? So
yeah.
What do you want to?
Well, we could just keep talking about this. I mean, you seem to have a lot of words about it.
I mean, I was just setting it up.
Okay, yeah. So anyway,
where we are now.
Oh, right, where we are now. And so I thought we were going to talk about the channeling in general, just channeling in general, even outside of like what's going on out there with channeling.
And that's what you're going to be getting into with some of Vincent Bridges' findings.
Right, because he wrote a whole book
about,
but he never put it out. Yeah, he never put it out. But he supposedly wrote or was working on almost completing a book about channeling and the type of people that were out there putting their channeling into the public.
And Sergei Monas talked about that with Project Bluebeam.
Yeah, right.
That we were going to see an influx of people thinking they're channeling when it's really skull to mind technology. And I've said, it's like you can tell who's legitimately channeling by if they're shadow banned or not, versus those who are doing exactly what the system wants them to do. And they have the big channels, right?
But also that there are different types of channeling. So there could be that technology influenced channeling, but there can also be quote unquote Lizzie channeling, which could be sort of a greeting by the 4D service to self to give someone an experience of having an encounter with an angel, say. And
Sergei Monas talks about it as well. I don't know if I told you that. No, and the new papers we have coming out.
So you hear about these people's stories where they have an encounter, whether it be from a psychedelic experience or a meditation experience, what have you. It could be what they consider an extraterrestrial experience. And so that, in a way, sort of inspires that person to channel because they get a message with it.
Yeah.
And then what happens after that is it's just their creativity. They've had this inspiration. They feel like that they've made contact with a positive service to others, angelic being, but in reality, it was a 4D service to self being disguised as a positive being or an angel. And then they, in turn, would feel, oh, I'm a channeler now. And then their creativity just takes it from there.
Their imagination.
Right. Their
like a kid.
Yeah, their imagination. And maybe they get some suggestions here and there from that entity that made original contact with them. But the message is usually, what is it? Doom and gloom or how special you are.
Yeah.
And
feeding the narcissism.
Right. Feeding the narcissism, separating people from one another, the special, the chosen ones from the not special and not chosen ones.
A hierarchy, which is a negative polarity.
And then every so often adding the doom and gloom. So that's like most 99% of the channeling that's out there these days is that. Because to understand what real channeling is, you would have to also understand that channeling is not meant for the masses. Like, why would a channel come through an individual just to have that individual turn around and make a living off of it or form a cult around it? So from what we understand at this point is that the only ones that can truly channel are the wanderers. And
that's like 2% of the population.
2% of the population. And the only reason why that channel is open for wanderers is because wanderers are so heavily attacked that they've got to have help. And so when you're dealing with a fourth density service to others channel as a wanderer, it's not going to be a message that
for the masses.
It's always individual help for the situation and the difficulty that you're facing. Really, in reality, it's more like a guru disciple relationship. It's not easy. It's not fun. It's hard. It's someone that presses your buttons.
Yeah.
And holds the pressure on your buttons until you do something about it. And then once you're done doing something about it, if that's what you choose, which most likely you would,
yeah.
Then once you're done with that challenge and that button, then it's like, oh, well, what about this over here? And so you're so occupied when you're in contact with a legit channel as a wanderer, you're so occupied, you don't have time to go out and be posting your channelings. They don't want to mess around with questions about conspiracy theories and you entertain. It's not entertainment.
No. Well, let's back up a little bit, because we even, like, when you talk about wanderers being able to channel, I know that I'm a wanderer because I have an extrovert. There's just different signs, and it's not something people think, oh, I want to be a wanderer. It's not special. It's not special. You don't want to be a wanderer. It makes me so upset when I hear people say that. I would give anything to not be a wanderer, because my life is so fucking hard, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's so hard.
Very hard.
My life, I am constantly under attack ever since I was a child, constantly. And the fact that I have an extra fucking vertebrae makes it even worse, because that's more loosh.
Is there any way I can tilt the screen? Because I feel like I'm having a lean over.
I mean, we can do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just I got to the point, just to be a little vulnerable. Like, every time I post a video, I lose money. I am in poverty right now, and I work 13 hours a day, don't I? I don't take breaks. For a sold person to work that hard, they're going to make the money that they need to live. Lizzies don't mess with sold people. They fuck with wanderers. And it's not fun. I get physically attacked. I've had bruises bigger than soccer balls on my body. You've seen me get scratched. I've been assaulted in the middle of the night. You witnessed that. It was brutal. It is. I would never. Right now, I'm dealing with freaking vampire shit again. Like, it's crazy. I know that sounds crazy, but my life is so hard. It is. I literally, I came to you and I was like, this was months ago. I was like, you had gotten a board, and I came to you and I said, I am the spirit board, but you hadn't touched it. And I was like, I just want to try this, because I'm going to unalive myself if we don't figure something out, because I am fighting a losing battle, and nothing is helping and nothing is working, because I am fighting against things that nobody can see. And these sold people walk around thinking that I'm doing something when I'm literally busting my ass every single day. And so I'm being very vulnerable right now. And so we sat down finally, and I said, I just have to try this, because I don't know what else to do. And so in saying that, let me just respond to this concept. So I can't, Nima, I appreciate your work. I'm glad you appreciate my work, but right now I'm trying I will turn the music. I'm trying to be very vulnerable right now. So I just would appreciate not being.
Yeah, good. Keep going.
Anyway, I literally was like, I'm going to end this all, because I can't do this, and anymore. And so this is what I'm talking about. Wanderers have the ability to channel, because it comes down to that. You are so desperate for help. Nothing on this earthly realm can help. You are so desperate. It's not your karma at that point. It's nothing. Things are going against your own consent. I've learned more about situations with controlled opposition in the truther community than I can say. But it's really dealing with a huge truther that's a fucking underground vampire that's glamoring people, spell casting people, and she is living off of my money. It's a destiny swapping, which is exactly what Laura did to Vincent Bridges.
Right.
Laura practiced Santeria, in my opinion, from what he described with the mirror. To me, I was like, oh, that's Santeria. She did Santeria, in my opinion, to destiny swap with Vincent Bridges so that she could continue to gather his fame, his publicity for herself. Same thing happened to me with
also his wanderer energy.
His wanderer energy. Same thing has happened to me. Same thing has happened to me. This particular truther that I used to film with has all my money. She's destiny swapped, and I literally, I mean, and she's sucking my energy every single day. That's why I'm having to deal with learning how to cut off vampirism at this point to get it to stop. She's hailed as a savior by most truthers when she literally, none of her predictions have come true, by the way. It's glamour spells, right? This is what I'm dealing with. And this is what Vincent dealt with Laura. It ended up killing him. He ended up having a random heart attack. It ended up killing him. And so when I came to Todd, I was like, I can't, like, the only way I can think to make this stop is by removing myself. And so I'm not going to tell you the name because that's just, it's dangerous to say names. So I'm not going to do that. That's not the point. Who I'm talking about is not the point. Because
as you're talking about how the
desperation
that brought us to bring out the board that I had for like a couple years. It just sat there and we never even bothered to pick it up. And the situation got so desperate for Bryce that she was like, we have to try this. Bryce was at her wit's end, and we felt like we were both just being crushed. And so at literally like the 11th hour, Bryce was like, let's just try this. And within, you can tell this.
Well, we started, and within like a couple of sessions, like at first was really slow and it was wild because I was like, are you moving it? And he was like, no. And at some point it started to move so fast that it would actually like fly off the board.
We couldn't even control it. I couldn't control it.
Couldn't control it. And then its name came out as Lu, L-L-L-U. And I had like this, what we say in yoga, prativa, this flash of illumination. I was like, holy shit, I know this. And I was saying person, I know it's in memory complex. Now, I had a Frank box session I had done back in 2010. And because I already was having like a lot of paranormal experiences, that's something about wanderers as well, and RH negatives. We just have a lot of ghost experiences. And so I was doing this Frank box, and this I thought he was saying Lewis came out as one of my guides. And but I couldn't quite hear. I thought it was Lewis. It was Lou. So this social memory complex, fourth density positive, had been trying to reach out to me since 2010.
It said it had been around in your life, protecting you and guiding you since you were a child.
Like 4, since I was like 4. Which is when the Lizzie started attacking me, was at 4 years old, which really like crushed me when I heard that. Cause I even said, I was like, well, then I don't even remember what life was like before that. So how do I even know like what it's like to not be under constant attack and constantly have this like weight over me? Like, how do I even know? I know I went to a school where there was my private school I went to. I have a lot of anger with my parents, and I was not protected. Let's just be frank about that. Like, my parents should have removed me from that situation, but they didn't. And that here we are. So I just don't even know like what life is like to be in peace, to not have this. And so that started. And then all of a sudden, like the floodgates came, and this Lou that we've been talking to will not answer any conspiracy questions. Will not. Like, you even try.
Sometimes.
One time he were asking questions, and Lou just went, goodbye. Like, hung up on, like, will not answer any type of conspiratorial questions because it doesn't matter. He's there. I say it's a he. It's a social memory complex.
I mean, we just call them they because it's like a social memory complex are millions of fourth density souls all pulled together into one consciousness, is the way that I understand it through the law of one material. So you're not just talking, it's always Lou, because it's not, they don't individuate.
No. But
they do have but the crazy thing is that Lou has such a distinct personality, incredible sense of humor, but at the same time could be extremely tough love, very stern.
He's not as stern with me as he is with you.
It's funny you say he.
I always say he, because in
yeah,
my head, it's like, I always call it a he. I
yeah,
don't think they care. But
no,
I think, but he always says, what is he says? Bryce is about to break.
right.
I can't, like, we have to be, Bryce is about to break. Bryce is about to break. And so he's not as rough on me as he is with you.
Mhm.
But he has pointed out stuff like where we were looking like a house and you really liked it and I kind of didn't, but I was trying to like it with you, and we got on the board and Lou was like, does Bryce like it? Like he's
Right.
teaching me how to speak up with certain things where I've learned to
Mhm.
kind of just fawn a little bit to survive.
Right.
And so he's helping me with that. But that's the difference between like the Cassiopeans and like Lou, is that Lou is like really helping us, like helping me especially like heal and helping me learn how to protect myself. They don't give us the answers.
Right.
They tell us where to look.
Right.
Learn.
But sometimes Lou will unload information
Mhm.
that you're surprised, because they'll be very limited on how much they'll give you. A lot of the time it just goes to what, there's a word on the board that says open, and that means like, we're not going to tell you open. Why don't you go figure it out for yourself? That's, that's open. But then open, and then all of a sudden you'll hit something and it'll just be a floodgate
Of
of
information.
information that you didn't even ask for, but that changes your whole perspective on a situation that you're having difficulty on, or that you just question a tiny bit and you didn't even realize that there was this well of information that was being, whether it be hidden or you didn't see. And so, to back up a little bit, um, you were talking about how when we got on the board and the desperate situation that you were in, and how that led into talking to Lou. But I felt like there was something that needed to be covered
Well,
in
the
that.
first thing we got was a Lizzie. When we
Right.
were on the board, the first thing that came out was a Lizzie. And you always ask, are you, and it was service to self, a Lizzie. And I was like, oh, and you were like, no, let's talk to the Lizzie. Let's talk to it. And I was a little like, but you talked to it, and then all of a sudden it spun and went back to hello. And Lou was like, no, we were just gonna see how you would react to the Lizzie. Like, we're gonna let the Lizzie talk to you.
Because the first thing that I started doing was questioning what we had, what we had on the board. Like, are you a disincarnate spirit? Are you a
A
ghost? And it
ghost,
was like,
basically.
no. And I was like, okay, well, are you service to others or service to self? And it was service to self. And so, even though we got a service to self, I was like, well, let's just see what's here. Talk to it for a while, but like Bryce said, then it stopped, and then went back to hello, and then we started questioning this obviously new entity
Mm-hmm.
that we had. And and then it would happen to be service to others,
And it
and it
was,
happened to be fourth density, and we knew we were on the right track. And then every time after that, once we got in touch with Lou, every single time,
that's who we've got.
that's who we've gotten. And every single time we've learned. But I learned through my study of focus, like reading channelers and stuff, but not Laura's work, because Laura never validates who she has on the board. But I learned that the most important thing when you first have someone, an entity on the board, you ask them who they are, what they've polarized towards, service to self, service to others, whether they're here for unconditional love. Every single time, even though as soon as we got on the board, we touch our hands on the planchette, immediately it goes to hello, and we say, who do we have with us? And they tell us, LU, and then we go through the questions to make sure that we validate that this is who we have.
And you always ask, are you here for unconditional love?
And so you never rest on your laurels, because that's when you can get fooled. And see, with Laura's work, she never goes through that protocol. She's all about discernment and knowledge protects and all this. But when it comes down to her channeling, she gets these randos on there. You can't even pronounce their name from Cassiopeia, the trailer park of the universe. And she never validates, are you service to others, or are you service to self? Are you here for unconditional love? That never
happens.
Ever happens.
And if it's a positive entity, it's not going to individuate.
Right.
So and
It's
and it's
always
always
going
going
to
to be
be the
social.
same.
Like with Ra, hello, I am Ra. Like it's a social memory complex. And so when you get individuals, it's either a disincarnate, like a ghost, or service to self. She always gets disincarnate. So my opinion is that, and I think we've clarified that, she knows their service to self. They're doing her favors because that's how the Lizzies work. Laura is part of the problem. And we've said this before, we'll say it again. We know
Not
full
part.
well
She is the
she is the
problem.
problem. We know full well that she's going to do a channeling where she's going to call us OPs because that's what she
No,
does.
she's going to have to find out something a little bit more creative than that,
Well, if
because we've
she
already
does,
called her out with that.
I mean, we're going to keep calling her out. Like we're waiting for it. We are waiting for it to be called OPs by Laura. And listen, we've laughed, like we've talked to some people off air that in this project, they're like, are you sure you want to go up against Laura? And I've laughed. I've been like, I'm literally battling an undergrounder vampire that's glamored most of the internet to think that she is some prophet, right? Like I bring it. Bring it. I've had death spells, haven't I? We didn't even talk about that. I've had death spells put on me.
Let's not talk about that.
No, let's talk about it because we're gonna call it out. The night that I got
I gotta pee.
oh, he's gonna go pee. So there was one night, and he can tell you more. This was like a couple of months ago. I woke up in the middle of the night, extremely nauseated, and I have stomach issues, so this happens sometimes, but this was weird. And I literally have never thrown up that hard, have never like I at one point thought I was literally gonna die. And Todd said he was in the bed and he heard me and he thought, do I need to go take her? Like it was so bad. And I throw up a lot because my stomach's bad. So this is not uncommon for me. And usually it's no big deal. But for him to lay in the bed and be like, I might need to take her to the hospital means that what he was hearing, and he can explain more when he comes back from the bathroom himself, what he heard. And the next morning, I'd been up all night. I was so worried about our neighbors hearing. We got on the board and we heard that that's what had happened to me was there was an actual death spell that had been put on. And what had saved me, something that I didn't even realize I had done, was in the heat of being sick, I literally had said, dear God, save me. And that's what stopped it because I did not consent. So when these death spells work on people, it's because they're not like reaching out for help. Because the beings of light are not going to come in and help unless we ask because of our free will. So yeah, I was just explaining like what had saved me was that I had actually asked, like, dear God, help me. But you explain what you heard that night because I get sick a lot, don't I? I throw up a lot. Like,
yeah, it was the most serious sickness I've ever heard. It sounded like she was possessed in the bathroom, and I was getting scared from what I was hearing, but I felt like I felt like that I was sort of being held down, and I felt like that I shouldn't go in and try to help. It was really strange how I'm hearing Bryce getting so incredibly sick.
like noises were coming. Like I was
Yeah,
hurling.
it would just, it was nonstop for a long period of time. But there was something, and Ravi, our dog, was just sound asleep. He wasn't moving. He wasn't concerned. I thought he was going to get concerned, but he wasn't concerned. And I felt like that the best thing for me to do was just to stay in bed with Ravi and lie there. And I felt like that was sort of strange, but at the same time, I was like, I'm just going to let Bryce go through this, and if she needs me, she'll come and get me, and I'll do what I
Well, at
need to
one point
do.
I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital, which is a good thing we didn't because then we talked
Right.
to Lou the next
Because
day.
yeah, so the crazy thing is we talked to Lou the next day, and Lou said that there was a death spell that had put on Bryce, and that she was lucky to be alive, and that they couldn't help, and the only thing that saved Bryce was her asking for God to help her. And Lou said that, you know, Ravi, they kept Ravi calm and asleep, because if Ravi would have gone and smelled Bryce, he would have smelled death, and that he would have freaked out, and it would have made the situation that much worse, because dogs can smell death, and that all Bryce's organs were shutting down, and that if I would have taken her to the hospital, she wouldn't have made it, because they wouldn't have understood what was going on. And that the crazy thing is Lou said that Bryce was the only person that had ever survived this spell.
Just
And
simply because I asked for God to help, and I don't even remember doing. I mean, I was just I had never been in that much pain before, and so that's a question. I mean, that's something for you guys. If you're ever in a situation like that, just ask God to ask for help, because you have to consent to allowing this type of stuff to work. But sometimes people don't realize that's what the darkness does, is they manipulate it. And so you just have to ask for help. But and that's, and Lou said there's a lot of deaths where they don't actually, they might put organ failure, but they don't really know what happened. And
right.
that it's that, and we know, being from the South, like there is spell casting going on like crazy all the time. People are just so
It's funny. I've
unaware.
been so I over the years, I've been so skeptical of black magic and all that. But lately,
And seeing me go
holy
through it,
shit, yeah, like I'm a believer now. Seeing scratch marks show up on Bryce's skin, like in the moment. And then one time Bryce had this huge bruise show up on her hip out of nowhere that had symbols in it. Like I'm definitely, and then that the what I heard during that death spell that Bryce barely made it through. Now I'm definitely a believer and understand there are people out there that can do some serious damage. And it's just funny how, I've researched paranormal and all that stuff for so long, but for some reason held it, like had this disbelief that people could actually do like legit black magic and then to
mhm,
see it being done and being told, by Lou, um, like, what's behind it. And like, of course, this stuff is legit,
yeah,
and yeah, it's just been an eye opener,
yeah,
and and the
and
only
they
reason, and the other thing is that the only reason I feel, and Lou's told us this, that we're here talking about Lou and our experiences with Lou is that there's so much bullshit channeling out there. 100% of what people are putting out today is garbage.
yeah,
There's no worthwhile channeling being put out right now. Raw material is probably some of the only legit channeling that's out there. Now there's been texts written, there's been books written that people have channeled, wanderers have channeled, but they're not being put out as channeled material. So
there's a lot of songs, a lot of music
yeah, music as well. And
that's
so
being that
when I say channeling, I'm
Devil
saying
Went Down to Georgia
right. Let's not get into that.
no, no, but like
Oh
even
yeah,
he says, even
right.
what
Charlie
he did,
Daniels. Yeah.
that it just came to him. So there's a lot of music that's very much channeled.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is people that are out there saying they have channel material, like the Cassiopean material. Cassiopean material is service to self, and so that just because and since she's not putting it out there as service to self channel material, it it's deceptive, and
Yeah.
so it's taking what's happened is the integrity of channeling at this point and moment in time is at its lowest that it's ever been. And Lou has sort of given us the like little push of like you could help with people understanding what real channeling
Stop giving your
is.
power over to these
Right.
channelers.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's soul crushing.
Yeah.
When you believe in lies and you believe those lies as being spiritual truths, it crushes your soul, and you're giving away your power, and you're giving consent to being manipulated, and that's extremely damaging. That's more powerful than someone physically harming you.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
harming
and
your soul.
you're putting how can you tell if you have a spell image yeah, there's some stuff you can do like that, Amy. Like there, you can look up that kind of stuff as well. You can do the egg stuff with the water and the matchstick. That's one thing I would look that up. But also, I would just say like if you're unsure if this spell's been put on you, I would probably lean on it's just your own karma that's coming up, because when it's black magic heavy, it's
Relentless.
relentless, and it's stuff that's like out of the ordinary, like waking up with bruises and scratches and
And if you're not being attacked by a high level witch, just do a black
yeah,
candle reversal spell in
yeah,
a mirror. Most Here's what we talk about what we've been taught about the pilgrimage thing of the walking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Lou will help us with little things here and there when it comes down to spells and reversal spells and stuff. Most of the time, they'll just say learn, because they can't give us too much information on that. They can't hold our hand, but we have been taught. I'm going to tell you one of the most powerful reversal spells. If you think black magic is being done on you, or if someone's just attacking you relentlessly, you take a mirror. It just could be a small glass mirror, 3 or 4 inch round glass mirror. Turn it over, write the person's name on it.
Backwards.
Turn it over, take a black candle, put the candle on the mirror, light it. You can anoint the mirror with some Ogun oil or there's certain oils out there that you can anoint the spell with, but it could just be the mirror, the reverse name, and you take a candle and you cut the top off and you flip it over, you write the person's name on the candle, you stick the candle in the mirror, and you let the candle burn down.
All the way down.
And then once you're done with it, take it to a crossroads and break it, and then take a long...
Well, no. You break it and you don't look back.
Right.
You throw the mirror down, you get in the car and you drive up.
Here's the most important part. Then you go on a long-ass hike to where you're like absolutely exhausted. And before you go on that hike, you think about that spell that you did with the candle, and you put your intentions on going on that hike to have all the energy you put on that hike, that you spend on that hike to go towards your spell. And Lou taught us this, and I had questioned about it because I had this realization that, thousands of years ago, these people would go on these spiritual pilgrimages. And all of a sudden it hit me when Lou gave us the instruction. He gave us the longest, hardest, most arduous hike.
I already talked about it. The 10-mile. I didn't say really why we had done it.
Yeah, but this is going back to that. So we did on this 10-mile hike that we were barely able to finish. The 3 of us were like, the last mile and a half, I was like, I don't even know if I can make it up this hill. Anyway, Lou had suggested, go on this hike after you do that spell. And so after we did that, it hit me that thousands of years ago, when these people would go on these pilgrimages, that pilgrimage that these people would take of sometimes 500 miles. All that energy that they had exerted during that pilgrimage was going to send power into their spells.
Or their prayer, which could have been
into their prayers, right?
That's what a prayer is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a purification.
And so if you think about how you want to do some magic, do your magic before you exercise every day. And then when you get on your mat to exercise, that all the energy you put within that exercise, all that energy that you expend in your exercise goes towards that spell. And that's one of the most powerful ways to channel that energy into that magic that you're trying to do. So anyway, that's the
exorcism. The root word of exorcism is exercise. So to get
Mm-hmm.
out all of those attachments that the spell has, if you're trying to do a reversal spell, they have attached something to you. So part of that is also burning off that away from you.
Right.
By purification through exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another reason why exercise is the foundation of spirituality.
Right. It's cleansing you.
You're cleansing from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about to go do it again. We're going to be doing it again.
Right.
So it's
we were like, we're never going to do that hike again. And then we were talking to Lou and he was like,
ready to go back.
Lou knew.
That's another thing too. You see these crazy channeled stuff where they go, my dear brothers and sisters of light, what quandary do? That's not the way they talk, y'all. That's such bullshit.
Lou is short form.
And
Lou will say, Lou lazy.
Like Todd was asking once, Todd was like, why do all these other channeled material have such like word salads? And Lou just goes, Lou lazy. Lou lazy. But I think he was just they're funny. They're really funny. They crack jokes a lot. But basically the point is, if you're talking to a legitimate entity that's there to help you, they're going to be short and sweet. They're not going to beat around the bush. They're not going to say, my brothers and sisters of light. Like, they're not going to do that shit. Right. It's
just like talking to your best friend. You establish a relationship and you share a sense of humor and you talk it out. You're having a conversation between Bryce and I will have a conversation and while our hands on the planchette, and then sometimes it'll just start to,
Move.
fill in.
Yeah.
Because we'll have like they'll say something and we'll start to converse back and forth about it, trying to figure out, okay, well they must have meant that, and then they'll just sort of fill in. And then the conversation goes on from there. And sometimes they'll tell Bryce to pull cards.
Yeah.
And so in the middle of a session, Bryce will take the tarot cards out, lay them out, and that's another way that Lou can communicate to us is through the cards. And then Bryce will talk about what she thinks the cards mean, and then we'll get back on the board, and Lou will basically say,
Lou is teaching us the whole time to have our own sovereignty, and they're not the answers are short and sweet, but a lot of times they're pushing us in a direction, but not telling us where to go with it. They don't give us all of the answers.
Sometimes they'll push in a direction, and you'll say, "Well, what's supposed to happen?" They'll say, "Just wait, go do this, and then wait, and then wait." And then 2 weeks will go by, and they were like, "Oh my God, that's." And then you'll say, "Oh, is that what you meant? Wait for?" They were like, "You're welcome."
Yeah, you're welcome. And that's word salads are showy and meaningless. Absolutely. And who wants to spell all that out? LOL.
Right. And not all is love and light. That's another thing. It's like all these channels you see, oh, we come in love and light, and all it's all love and light. Lou just laughs at that. That's like some new age bullshit. It's not all
love and light is negative. That's the negative polarity.
He said
it's tough love.
He said love exists in dark too. Think about the womb. A child is developing with love within this dark space in the womb. It's like, and so it's not. So when Lou gets a kick out of that in a way, but also it said it's dangerous. Like it's not love and light.
Love and light is coddling somebody, and Lou's tough. They're tough love in love bombing, and that's grooming you to groom you to accept something that is manipulative. Love and light is very manipulative. But Lou is, he says, no, we love you. Like he'll say, especially when we're going through something hard, he'll say, we love you. We're giving you this because we know that this will help you. What did he say to you the other day? He was like, you ready to level up? Like,
like it was a video game. I was like, no, I don't want to level up.
I'm done leveling up. So they're funny, but they're tough too. And they guide you, and they only give you, it kind of builds on itself because they give you a little bit and you go and work on it and you come back and it gives you a little bit more. And
you think there's some like them, you think like, oh, the excitement's over, and then level up.
It's like, what is there? There's a really famous quote about history. I heard it the other day and I laughed so hard. And it kind of reminds me of the channeling stuff, because this guy was like, history, man, it's just one fucking thing after another. And that's kind of what it is. Like, it's just one fucking thing after another. But he will not, like, sometimes like we're going to be doing some more stuff in the new year with you doing the I Ching, because you're an I Ching reader, which is really fascinating. And so we're going to get into that to the new year. But you asked about that because not many people read the I Ching. And Lou was just like, past life. But he won't go into detail. Like, he won't, like, it's not important, right? And I've said that about past lives. They're not important. They are, but they're not at the same time. We're carrying the deal is to figure it out in this life. If you try to focus too much on past lives, then you're just disassociating from this life, and you're just gonna have to come back and do it again. So he'll just be like, past life, like that's all, next, move on, next, and so yeah, I mean, I kind of miss him when we kind of go a few days. And you were like, at one point, you're like, I hope we're not bothering him.
them. Because we've been needy sometimes.
But they're not in the same times. They're not in the same time is different for them.
And we can't talk about, because they live in no time.
And you try. Well, Laura does the same thing. She really tries to, and I've just kind of let it go because I'm like, we're not going to understand it here in third density. So why even try? And you kind of try to understand it. And he's just like, remember that one time he was like, no, just went.
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating, to think about how, I mean, going into, sometimes they'll entertain some of my questions, understanding that Earth and Mars and Venus and Uranus and everything we're all one planet.
We're all here.
We're all here on all the planets that we see when we look out into the night sky. Those they're not even they're out there, but they're not the planets that they're not the planet. We think of. It's nuts how it's all Earth.
It's all here.
Mars is Earth.
Venus is Earth. It's all Earth. And I don't even know how to explain that. Like, there's just,
and also another huge that blew my mind is that the universe isn't infinite.
No, it's not infinite.
And that creator is an infinite, and that we don't have access to infinite energy. That's another thing. Okay, so this blew my mind, and this was a really cool conversation with Lou, as I was asking about the whole, like, the one infinite creator, and they were like, well, basically that's bullshit. There's the universe has an end.
Yeah.
You can meet a wall where you meet the end of the universe. And I was thinking this new agey shit that we have this
abundance is everywhere.
Right, abundance is everywhere. And they were like, no, we all have a set amount of energy that's available to us. It's a limited amount of energy.
That's why people destiny swap.
Exactly.
That's
why
there's black magic, is because there's not infinite abundance.
And that's why there's still a battle without the veil when you're in 4th density, 5th density, 6th. That it's because you're trying to steal someone else's energy because you've reached your limit. And so it's like there would be no energetic battles, if there really was infinite abundance or infinite energy. And so even the creator is not infinite. They're finite. And so when you understand that perspective, I feel like for me, I'm still trying to process it, because it changes everything, because you're taught in New Age spirituality that there's such thing as the infinite, but there's not. It's not infinite. Why does it need to, like Lou would say, why does it need to be infinite? There's plenty, there's always going to be plenty to explore. There's always going to be plenty to learn without there being infinity. And so I don't know, that was just huge.
Well, and it started to make sense when he said that. I was like, oh, duh, like, you dumbass. Like, to myself, I was like, that's why they do black magic, is because, and that's why we learned from I forgot who it was, about manifesting, that manifesting is actually a service to self activity. It's not service to others to manifest.
Well, there's a difference. You can manifest by putting your own energy and doing 100% of the work,
right,
and be able to manifest what it is that you're feeling like that you need. But to put things on a vision board and just expect that like a little child, that the creator,
like Santa Claus,
like Santa Claus is going to deliver you your mansion and your fancy car.
What have you done to earn that? Because here's the thing we've learned is, like, everything's an energy exchange, because there is no infinite abundance in this. It's an energy exchange, right? That's why we have an energy exchange, because there's no infinite abundance. And so if I'm doing all this work to earn, and then somebody over here is sitting here manifesting and putting things on a board, what's going to happen is that the Lizzies are going to come take from me to give to that person. That's another destiny swapping. And so anybody doing vision boards without actually working for it. So if you put a vision board up, but you're not going out there and actually working and putting in energy for that mansion or that nice car, then you're stealing. You're stealing from somebody else. And we know a lot of people, like Kundalini yoga is big in that. It's big in that. And that's all theft. It's all theft of somebody else's destiny, somebody else's hard work. It's no different than going into somebody else's checking account and withdrawing all their money and running off with it for yourself.
Look what I manifested.
I manifested. No, you stole it. You stole that from somebody else because you didn't work for it. You didn't earn it. That's what's happening to me right now. I'm working my ass off, but somebody else is living off my money. I know who that person is. And that's going to stop very soon. We've got something we're doing to stop that. And so, oh yeah, Jojo. Yeah, wow, that's wild. Really always kind of wondered about the whole, exactly. And Sarah said that if it is, absolutely, it's probably a coping mechanism for our own fears. It goes back to the beginning of this, of mortality, right? And this is we're all seeing this from a 3rd density perspective. And this is what we do in 3rd density, because we have a veil. We try to label all of these entities of higher consciousness through the lens of our own perspective, when we might not totally understand that, because we can't see beyond the veil. And so that's something we do too, right? Is we tend to do that. We tend to put our own perspective in 3rd density onto God. I mean, that's what I say about religion, is just man's opinion on God, and opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one and they all stink, right? Like, I don't like this particular group of people, so therefore I'm going to put that on God, that God doesn't like this particular group of people. No, it's just your perspective. And it's way more nuanced. And, that's where faith comes in, right? That you have faith that there is meaning beyond the realms of third density. And so, but that made so much sense when we learned that no, there is not. All these people say there's abundance everywhere. Abundance is infinite. No, it's not.
Right.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and why would we even question that? Because when you start thinking about that, there's not an infinite amount of energy that everyone could tap into, then you can understand. Like, I should have picked that up a long time ago, knowing that there are these higher density beings, fourth density beings without the veil, that are still trying to feed off of our energy here. If you didn't have the veil and energy was infinite, why would you need to come to us lowly beings?
Why would there be enslavement?
Right, exactly, right. And so why would they need us to feed off of if there was infinite energy out there that they should be able to tap into, because you have all your latent powers without the veil? So what would keep them from just like going out and just like tapping into the creator? But they can't, because they've reached their quota. Yeah. And so they want
go
more
steal from someone else.
Go steal from the ignorant ones down here that can't tell up from down because they have a veil.
Yeah.
And so yeah, just sit with that, because I'm still sitting with that, because for so long I've thought, infinity, this infinite universe, this infinite creator. And it's like, actually, no. We've been given all our access to all our power. It's just that we give it away. People steal it.
Yeah.
And then also we don't know how to tap into it because we have the veil. And so, it just really puts things in perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. So it does give you, but when you heard these truths, it's almost like, oh, duh. Because all of a sudden the spiritual texts make more sense. You're like, and we know New Age, the term New Age is a 3-letter agency, just like conspiracy theorists, like that. And if you go to India, they don't call themselves New Age in India, do they? No. And the New Age theory is very different from the actual Eastern philosophy. It's very different. And so anyway, is there anything else you want to talk about today?
No, I think that's good.
You guys have any questions? But I know we've been on over an hour, and I always. Yeah, we are. It is like we are a resource, and we just got to make sure.
We are being farmed in a sense, yeah.
And that one thing they do bring up a good point is like, we can't get mad that the Lizzies live off of us when we're doing the same thing to second density.
The veil exists so that we may.
Yeah.
That way, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, you guys. And I'm sorry, my eyesight is so bad. I can't see all of your handles sometimes. But
also, the veil is also here. Can we talk about that? The veil. One time there wasn't a veil.
Oh yeah, there wasn't a veil, and it was very traumatic because we could actually see the Lizzies doing what they do, and so that's why we have the veil here, is because, and CERN's trying to remove the veil, but it's trauma. Like we need the veil, because otherwise we would constantly see what the Lizzies were doing, and it would be traumatizing. That's where ashrams come from.
I mean, it's like seeing torture videos.
Yeah, it'd be like torture videos. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jojo. Yeah, it would be torture videos for us, and they dropped the veil for our own protection, so that we couldn't see what the Lizzies were doing. That's where ashrams come from. Ashrams were created. They're a semblance of when that was happening, when there was no veil, where people would go and hide in like the mountains because of what was happening and what they were being forced to see. And thank you. Yeah, that's Todd's channel.
Oh yeah,
The Confused Wanderer. Make sure you subscribe to him, because he's going to be going deeper into more of the Vincent Bridges stuff. We are, like I said, you are in contact with his widow, and you're trying to get in contact with even more people. You've got some resources now.
Yeah, I've been given some leads about some people that were actually deep within the cult, the Cassiopaean cult, that I'm going to be reaching out to and talking to them and see if we can get them on a show, or I can just get more of a backstory of what they experienced. And then I'm going to read some more of Vincent Bridges' article or writings that he did about his experiences with Laura. But eventually, I'm going to reach an end with that. And I'm not sure exactly where it's going to head, but we may be doing some live channel.
Yeah, we might bring Lou out at some point. At this point,
and I just want to say, if we end up doing some Lou channeling online, then I just want you to remember that it's not because we're trying to become the new channelers out there. It's just like Lou had said, if that happens, it's just to help bring clarity and an understanding of what real channeling is. So people, from there can have more discernment when they're looking at channel material.
Yeah.
So it can help take down the ones like Laura
that are running a literal cult.
That are running a cult and channeling service to self beings and not disclosing that to help. So it's just gonna bring more clarity. It's not gonna be some permanent thing that we're gonna do. It's
and we'll
just
do it on his channel.
It's and it's just to just give people an example of what it looks like when you're doing legit channeling.
Because nothing Lou has told Todd and me is really is going to matter. It's mostly about our shit, so it's
there's little fascinating things here and there, but we don't talk about conspiracy theories with Lou. Yeah,
he won't, and he won't answer questions. I've had friends like ask us to ask him questions, and he'll be very vague because he's like, "No, I need to have them here. Like, I'm not going to." Which is another thing too. Like I noticed with the Cassiopaeans, like the person that that Destiny swapped with me is bad about doing this, where they try to like get information or channel information about somebody else who's not there. Y'all, that goes against consent. If you see a tarot card reader pulling tarot cards about anybody out there, even if we think they're bad guys, you have to have their consent. You can't pull tarot cards on somebody without their consent. And Lou is big about that. So even when people ask me to ask Lou something, he's very vague, isn't he? He'll be very vague. And he's like,
it's more about helping us. And then also there's some karmic stuff that we have that we're playing out right here with the Cassiopaean cult and Laura. Obviously I have some karma there.
No, Toby, actually, maybe you should do an episode on undergrounders. They're not Lizzie's.
No, I'm not getting into that. That's a danger. Well, I wouldn't say dangerous subject, but that.
I mean, what the hell? We already have like a coven after us. We might as well. Maybe you should do a show on it, or maybe we can do a show on my channel together because it's too much to get into now.
I've questioned Lou a lot. Lou questioned me, like, why are you so fascinated? Why are you so obsessed with undergrounders? They don't think, they think it's like, oh, that's not a big deal. That's totally normal. That they're the whole society.
Like us, but they're basically trained under we can get into it another. Let's do a show this week on it. How about that, Toby? We
talk to Lou first and make sure that that's okay because undergrounders are fucking dangerous.
They're dangerous.
And they're also scary. I've had my fair share. I don't want to get into that.
I mean, the person that's after me is an undergrounder, so I mean,
they're just high level service to sell.
They're basically snipers. People. Like they can like, and so Toby, why don't we do that this week? We can sit down and create a show, and we'll put that up. Because that's we could
talk about the other piece of land that we don't know about.
Oh yeah, there's more land on our Earth.
Yeah, people that don't know about us.
That don't know about us and we don't know about them. This shit's just wild. So yeah, but yeah, again, most of the time Lou is just giving us stuff for ourselves and he doesn't entertain conspiracy. So if we do pull Lou out for you guys on Todd's channel and he can go live, we're going to do it live because we're going to call Laura out on this. Laura never does it live. She always just types it up, never shows you the channeling. We're going to do it live. On a live, so you guys can see it's totally.
And I'm going to make sure I tell Lou, don't embarrass me.
Don't embarrass, yes. So we can actually get in that live. We can get questions from you guys that maybe Lou will answer. If it's too conspiratorial, he'll just be like, no. So
just hang up, yeah.
Or he'll just hang up. Like if it's not something that's actually going to help you in your life, make better choices or grow within you. Absolutely, Jojo. We actually I can make you one right now. You can do it with Midwest Night Watchers. I'll make both of you guys. Let's see, add as moderator. Let's see. There we go. And yeah, absolutely. So did you get your wrench, Jojo? So yeah, we can, but we're waiting for Todd. So make sure you subscribe to Todd. I think you have to have 1,000 subscribers to go live.
And also I have to get to a certain point in the exposure of
right.
the Cassiopaean Cult and Laura Knight. And it's gotta reach a point where it's logical that starts to happen. I think is the way I understand it, the way Lou's sort of explained it, or the way I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So make sure you subscribe. Jojo, will you just put something in the chat so I can see if you got your wrench? I want to make sure. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. You got it, Jojo. You have a wrench now. All right. And Midwest Night Watchers. So make sure you subscribe to Todd and over on the Confused Wanderer. So once he gets to that number, because he's still got some more episodes to do before we do that, but once he gets to a particular number, he can then go live. We're gonna do
and
that.
watch all the if you go and watch all the videos we've done on the Cassiopaean Cult. I think there's 6 or 5 or 6 episodes now in that. If you watch all those, that'll help me get up to the view hours so I can go live as well.
Yeah.
And so subscribers and view hours are the 2 biggest things right now to get me up to being able to go live. And
if something ever happens to my channel, guys, it'll go all over to his channel. But that's why we were doing joint videos over stuff. But we just started putting them on Todd's channel because to help him get those view hours. I mean, I'm so shadow banned anyway, but to help him get the view hours he needs so that we can go live. JoJo's really enjoying your channel.
Oh, good. Thank you.
So
I'm not a natural YouTuber like Bryce. So
no, you are.
It's been tough.
I mean, you're doing fine right now. He's doing well, isn't he? It takes practice.
It does.
It takes practice. Yeah. I just laugh. I have my grandmother used to come. Well, my grandmother was a social butterfly, but my mother was like a social butterfly. So I think that I got that from my mom. She can talk to anyone, can't she? Yeah. So I think that's where I got that from.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, so you're doing amazing. And we've got such a great chat. And you guys, I'm so sorry. I was trying to keep up with the chat, but I've noticed with my live, sometimes I get too distracted with the chat. And so it gets a little choppy. So, but thank you guys for all the support. I know that was kind of a trauma dumping, but we're fine. And I'm really tough. I'm a tough bitch, aren't I? And we're gonna take care of this. And this is just what my soul signed up for. And this is what y'all soul signed up for. And this is what his soul signed up for. So that's what Robbie's soul signed up for. And so just to reiterate, if you are on Fusion Body Studio tomorrow, which is Sunday, the 16th of November at 4 p.m. Eastern time, we have a live workshop. I saw Isabella. We got people in here that are going to be there hopefully be there tomorrow. If you can make it, we're going to be workshopping some of what we were talking about with the exercise, right? With like what that means energetically with the body and like how that connects, like Mola Bandha connects to the adductors in the inner thigh, the lower pelvic floor. We're going to workshop that even more. We're also going to talk about sciatic nerve pain and help with that. And so we're going to talk about the heart and the lungs, like what is prana, what is life force, what is pranayama, oxygen, breathing in the blood, like how do the heart and the lungs work together? How does that translate spiritually? And so we are going to be talking about that tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time over on Fusion Body Studio. So make sure if you have any questions, if you cannot make that class tomorrow, just send them to Paula and me and we can answer the questions and then you can see it in the replay. We also have, again, we just filmed yesterday a 60-minute new bar for men class that I think I'm going to actually I think that's going to be one of our classes we actually do put up publicly for people to try it, but it will not be dropped until I've got another 60-minute class I'm going to film myself with a resistance band for people who've been asking. We've been getting that request with the resistance band. So that's going to be filmed this week. And those 2 videos will probably be dropped at the same time. And again, on the 23rd. So next Sunday, the 23rd, 4 p.m. Eastern time, we have a live class with Julia, who is our chef on Fusion Body Studio, who's going to be creating a whole playlist, a whole lifestyle playlist to help with cooking. And so you guys, that'll be a chance for you guys to get to know her. Coming up in December with Fusion Body Studio, Todd is going to be doing both of the classes in December. He's going to be doing the exercise class with you guys with Ashtanga Yoga, and he's going to be doing the lecture style academic class as well. Coming up in January on Fusion Body Studio, we're actually going to be doing Vedic chanting classes once a month. Because you guys liked it so much. And so Todd's going to be doing that once a month with you guys. And as always, too, if you really want to join Fusion Body right now, you can use my name, Bryce 20, BRICE 20 at checkout to get 20% off your first 6 months with us. But we are going to have some Black Friday sales coming up for people if you want to gift a membership to anybody. Paula's working that out. Again, I had to kind of tell her what Black Friday was because she's in Australia. So make sure we have those 3 days, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where we'll have a sale going on for anybody who wants to gift a membership to somebody for Christmas. So with that being said, awesome. Tomorrow's my middle daughter's 24th birthday. I loved being 24. 24 was a good year. That was a good year. So happy birthday to her. And so you guys, with that being said, happy Saturday. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to get back to my watching the secret lives of Mormon wives, the mom talk shenanigans, and folding laundry and going to the store. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for the support as always. And I will see you all later on this week. Bye, everybody.